Imagine this. You see a speculative crypto token, backed by a major celebrity, launch with just incredible fanfare.
Yeah, the hype machine goes into overdrive.
Exactly. Then you watch as one single sophisticated trader makes, what, a staggering $100 million on it?
100 million. It's hard to even wrap your head around that you're on a meme coin.
Right. And just when you think, okay, that's a once-in-a-lifetime fluke, they immediately jump into another celebrity-backed launch and somehow seem to repeat the trick.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you, really, about the game being played in the meme coin market?
It tells us a lot, I think. It tells us about who holds the cards in these incredibly volatile and, let's be honest, often opaque spaces.
Opaque is a good word for it.
It really highlights the vast information asymmetries that exist, and perhaps the inherent vulnerabilities that are being actively exploited. It's not exactly a level playing field.
And that's precisely the kind of insight we're committed to bringing you here on the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to take a hard, granular look at the fascinating and, frankly, pretty concerning story of Kanye West's YZY token.
It's a really recent and clear example.
It is. But it's not just about one token. That's just our most recent compelling case study. We're going to use the critical sources you've provided, along with this particular example, to peel back the layers and truly understand the pervasive mechanics of what really looks like sophisticated insider trading and calculated market manipulation within the broader meme coin space.
And it's so crucial for us to go beyond the headlines, beyond the celebrity glitz. This isn't just another tale about a famous name and their crypto project, right?
Right.
It's about identifying powerful recurring patterns that significantly impact anyone like you who might be considering engaging with these highly speculative assets.
Yeah.
Our goal here is to equip you with the insights needed to navigate these high-risk markets with a clear understanding of the powerful forces at play. Maybe see the matrix a little bit.
That's exactly right. It matters because understanding these dynamics can be the difference between making an informed, protective decision and, well, becoming another casualty in a market that, for certain players, seems meticulously designed to benefit a select few.
Designed is the operative word there, potentially.
We're here to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, giving you a shortcut, hopefully, to being well-informed on this incredibly nuanced and often bewildering topic. So let's unpack this, trace the digital breadcrumbs, and dive deep into the YZY whale story.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how much we can uncover even when bad actors try to operate in the shadows. It's all thanks to the inherent transparency of blockchain technology itself.
It's the saving grace, in a way.
It's like having a public, immutable ledger of every single transaction, if you know how to read it, if you know where to look.
Okay, let's start with the initial revelation, because this is where the on-chain sleuths really shine. These are essentially blockchain detectives, right? Meticulously tracing public transaction data to uncover hidden patterns and actors.
Digital bloodhounds, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And it was Bubble Maps, a well-known name in the world of on-chain analytics. Think of it as digital forensics for the blockchain, who made a pretty significant discovery.
A huge one.
They confirmed the identity, or at least the wallet address, of the very first on-chain buyer of Kanye West's YZY token. And this wasn't just any buyer, was it?
No, absolutely not just any buyer. The power of on-chain analytics, as you've highlighted, is really quite remarkable. It lets you do such granular investigation into blockchain transactions.
You have to see everything.
Tracing the flow of funds, identifying clusters of connected wallets, watching the transaction timing and volume. It brings a level of transparency to otherwise opaque markets that we just don't typically see in traditional finance.
Right.
So when we talk about the first on-chain buyer, it implies a very specific and often highly advantageous position.
Extremely advantageous.
It suggests privileged, maybe even insider, access, potentially acquiring tokens directly from the project's developers or the launch team, or maybe via a private sale, even before the token is widely available to the general public.
Which means they're already positioned before anyone else even knows it exists.
It effectively gives that individual or entity a considerable, almost insurmountable head start in accumulation and, crucially, in price positioning.
And just to be clear, what we're discussing here isn't speculation. This isn't just some rumor circulating on Twitter or, an anonymous 4chan post.
No, this is data-driven.
This has been rigorously confirmed and reported through multiple reputable crypto news outlets. We're talking sources like CoinSpeaker, Blockchain News, Cointelegraph, all reporting on these precise findings.
So the data is really speaking for itself here, laying out the facts.
Precisely. The ability to trace immutable wallet addresses and their full transaction histories provides undeniable, verifiable evidence. It's like having that public ledger, right? Every single trade, every single movement of tokens. Even if you don't know the person's name behind the address.
Exactly. Even if the identity behind a specific wallet address is initially pseudonymous. It's the patterns of behavior tied to that address, the consistent methodologies you see across different projects that ultimately reveal the full story.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting and where we hit that critical question. Insider advantage versus outright market manipulation.
The blurry line.
This early buyer reportedly paid approximately $250,000 for their initial YZY tokens. Now, that's a substantial initial investment for any meme coin, let alone one from a celebrity known for, well, shall we say, unpredictable ventures.
$250,000 is a big bet on something so new.
But what happened next is the critical part, the move that sends up major red flags all over the place.
Yep. The quick exit.
They quickly cashed out for substantial profits.
This rapid in-and-out maneuver is just a critical, almost a signature characteristic of the pattern we're discussing. It's not just about buying low and selling high over, weeks or months.
No, this is fast.
It's about doing so with an almost uncanny, almost instantaneous timing that strongly suggests privileged information, or maybe an ability to significantly influence market sentiment right at launch.
Yeah.
This kind of rapid, high-profit exit, especially within hours or maybe days of a token launch, absolutely raises serious red flags about information asymmetry and potential market manipulation. It implies they knew exactly when to get in and, just as crucially, exactly when to get out before it all came crashing down.
So when we see such rapid profit taking on a brand new token, it just forces you to ask, is this just incredibly sharp market savvy? Is it someone who's just brilliant at reading charts and sentiment?
Or is it something else?
Or are we looking at something far more insidious, like insider access or outright manipulation? What's the critical line between legitimate, albeit maybe aggressive, trading and crossing into unethical or maybe even illegal territory in these, still pretty nascent markets?
It's a tough line to draw sometimes.
Because such quick profit-taking, especially on a newly launched, hype-driven token, can have a devastating and immediate impact on market stability and, maybe more importantly, on broader investor confidence.
Absolutely devastating.
If people feel the game is rigged from the start, they're simply not going to play. Why would they?
That's precisely the crux of it. The key isn't just the profit itself, although that's obviously huge, but the timing and the scale. Legitimate market savvy, it thrives on publicly available information, astute predictions of market sentiment, maybe based on fundamentals if there are any.
Right, reading the tea leaves that everyone can see.
But when we see nearly instantaneous profit extraction by a select few, especially when they hold a concentrated amount of the tokens, well, it points strongly to information asymmetry, a situation where one party just has superior or advanced knowledge.
Like knowing the marketing push schedule or when liquidity is being added?
Exactly. It suggests privileged access or maybe an ability to orchestrate sentiment in a way that fundamentally distorts true price discovery. And yes, it absolutely devastates investor confidence. Because like you said, if the game feels rigged from the start, where a few whales are just waiting to dump on retail, why would anyone want to participate?
What poisons the well?
It really does. And this pattern, it isn't unique to YZY either, not by a long shot. It starkly mirrors what has been observed in other high-profile meme coin launches, particularly with the Trump and LIBRA tokens.
Yeah.
Sources like Cointelegraph and AInvest have reported on this. This undeniable continuity, this repetition, is a vital piece of the puzzle.
Which truly begins to connect the dots, doesn't it? As our on-chain sleuths dug deeper, tracing those initial YZY transactions back, they unearthed a truly astonishing connection.
Yeah, this is where it gets wild.
The digital breadcrumbs led them directly to a name, or at least a wallet associated with a name, that had already become legendary and in some circles, pretty infamous in the meme coin world. This brings us to the prolific trader, a pattern portrait from Trump to YZY, and now apparently to LIBRA as well.
It absolutely does, and it's a pivotal moment in this deep dive. What's so compelling here is that on-chain analytics didn't just identify a first buyer for YZY. They identified the same sophisticated trader, the very same digital fingerprint, essentially.
The same wallet address, moving millions.
This individual, identified by some sources as Trader Nassim in reports by Pay News and AInvest, is the exact same entity who previously netted an astonishing sum, over $100 million, trading the Trump meme coin, Trump.
$100 million.
It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern of what looks like strategic financial engineering.
Over $100 million. I mean, that figure alone is staggering. But what does it truly signify about this individual's capabilities or access beyond just sheer luck?
Yeah, luck doesn't really cover this.
Because that's not just a lucky guess or some savvy retail investor making a one-off hit. That's an impressive, almost unbelievable scale of operation. This isn't some small-time player. This is a bona fide whale.
Honestly, aware.
A term we use for an individual or entity holding such a massive amount of a token that their buying or selling movements can single-handedly sway the entire market, often, the devastating effect for smaller participants.
They make the waves.
We're talking deep pockets and seemingly an even deeper, almost prescient understanding of how these celebrity-backed launches are structured and, crucially, how they can be exploited.
Indeed. The implications of a single entity making such vast, repeated profits across multiple high-profile meme coin launches are profound and, frankly, troubling.
It raises so many questions.
It immediately raises critical questions about the resources, the type of information, or the strategic positioning this individual or group might possess. Are they simply incredibly astute at predicting volatile market sentiment, maybe using advanced AI trading bots?
That's possible, I guess.
Or are there deeper connections to the token launch teams themselves, perhaps gaining early access to token distribution, or even directly influencing the launch parameters?
That feels more likely given the timing.
This consistency across distinct projects suggests a highly organized, well-capitalized, and alarmingly repeatable strategy. One designed not just to participate in the market, but seemingly to sculpt it for maximal personal gain.
And the web expands further, doesn't it? The on-chain analytics don't just tie this trader to YZY and TRUMP. Now LIBRA is in the mix.
Yes, LIBRA too. The sources, including Metrade, Cointelegraph, and Chaincatcher, have meticulously detailed that the same wallets involved in these activities pulled approximately $21 million across both the YZY and LIBRA events combined.
21 million across just those two, plus the 100 million from TRUMP.
This really demonstrates a consistent methodology, right? A clear, proven playbook that's being deployed again and again, successfully extracting huge sums.
This is where the interconnectedness of these events becomes just undeniable. It moves beyond mere anecdotal observation to solid data-driven evidence.
Exactly. The consistent presence of overlapping wallets across these multiple insider plays strongly suggests coordinated activity, rather than isolated coincidences or just random market movements. It points to a deliberate, systematic approach.
A repeatable formula.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about what it means for the health and fairness of the market when such a significant amount of profit is concentrated in the hands of just a few entities.
It can't be good.
It almost certainly deters smaller retail investors, right? Because they realize they're entering a game where the rules are already set against them, where the biggest players dictate the outcomes.
Who wants to play a rigged game?
Precisely. And this massive concentration of wealth actively undermines overall market liquidity and price stability. It turns what should be a dynamic ecosystem into a highly controlled, almost artificial environment that's just ripe for exploitation.
That's the core of it, isn't it? It feels less like a free market driven by supply and demand, and more like a carefully orchestrated event, maybe engineered for the benefit of a select few.
That's the suspicion, certainly.
Let's really deconstruct this, because there's clearly a meme coin playbook emerging, and it's a dangerous, well-worn template for unsuspecting investors.
This playbook is indeed becoming alarmingly familiar. It's a template we've seen repeated with disturbing regularity. And YZY appears to follow this classic and often devastating pattern, drawing striking parallels to Trump's launch and unfortunately many others before and probably after.
So let's break down this meme coin playbook piece by piece, starting with the very first hook, the sudden celebrity launch. What exactly is the mechanism at play here, and why is it so potent? Because it seems to be the trigger every single time.
Well, it's pure unadulterated marketing genius, or perhaps manipulation, depending on your perspective. It leverages the power of parasocial relationships, that feeling people have that they know a celebrity.
Yeah, that connection people feel.
When a figure like Kanye West attaches their name to a token, it just bypasses all the traditional vetting and due diligence that a normal project might go through.
There's no white paper usually, no real utility.
Exactly. No robust white paper, no established utility, no track record of a development team. It's just the immediate visceral draw of a famous personality. This isn't merely about creating buzz, it's about manufacturing an instant emotional connection, a sense of proximity to fame that few other assets can offer.
And that emotion overrides logic for a lot of people.
It's designed to short-circuit logical analysis, propelling the token into the public eye faster than any grassroots project ever could. And critically, it often happens with little to no prior public disclosure, which gives a massive information-based advantage to those with insider connections.
Okay, so step one, celebrity hype. And once that initial hype takes hold, we often see the next critical characteristic, significant wallet concentration. What does that look like on-chain, and how does it empower these early players?
Right. On-chain, it manifests as a large percentage of the total token supply being held by a very small number of wallets. These are often the insider or whale wallets we've been talking about.
A few wallets holding most of the coins.
And it's not just about holding the tokens, it's the strategic deployment of that holding. These whales can often create artificial price floors or sudden dramatic pumps to attract retail attention. Sometimes they even use bots to generate initial trading volume and create this false sense of organic demand.
Making it look like there's real buzz.
By controlling such a vast supply, they have immense power over the token's price and liquidity. They can create artificial scarcity narratives fueling that FOMO, knowing full well that when they choose to liquidate their vast holdings, well, the fragmented retail market simply cannot absorb that selling pressure without a massive, instantaneous price drop.
They pull the rug out.
It's a precisely engineered boom and bust cycle, it seems.
Which leads directly into the third characteristic, rapid profit-taking. We saw it with YZY, we saw it with Trump. It's a hallmark of this playbook. What does this maneuver truly achieve for these insiders, and what's its immediate impact on the market?
Rapid profit-taking is basically the end game for these early concentrated holders. After the initial celebrity-driven hype and maybe a manufactured pump, attract a wave of retail investors.
The exit liquidity arrives.
Exactly. These insider wallets quickly sell off their tokens. This isn't about long-term investment or belief in the project. It's a short-term, high-volume extraction of value.
Get in, get rich, get out.
This maneuver floods the market with sell orders, capitalizing on the retail interest they've helped generate. The immediate impact: a sudden sharp decline in the token's price, often within minutes or hours. It's a classic exit liquidity scenario where the initial enthusiasm of retail investors effectively provides the capital for the early holders to cash out, leaving very little value behind.
And then we arrive at the inevitable, often devastating result, retail losses. This is where the human element truly hits home, right? Why are everyday investors so consistently susceptible to these hype-driven tokens, even when the patterns seem so clear in hindsight?
It largely preys on a potent cocktail of human psychology. The fear of missing out, FOMO, combined with, often, a profound lack of understanding of underlying tokenomics and market structure.
They see rockets and dollar signs.
People see the rocket ship emojis, they see the celebrity name, they see the initial price charts going to the moon, and their brains just leap to quick wealth. This emotional drive isn't just about greed either. It taps into our innate desire for belonging, for a shortcut to financial freedom, and maybe an optimism bias that makes them believe they won't be the ones left holding the bag this time.
Everyone thinks they can time the exit.
And the average retail investor might not even know how to analyze on-chain data, or what constitutes significant wallet concentration, or how to spot wash trading. They're often entering at the absolute peak, driven by herd mentality, hoping to catch the tail end of a surge that's already, unbeknownst to them, been orchestrated for the benefit of a few.
And that's exactly why understanding this playbook, recognizing these specific red flags, the sudden launch, the wallet concentration, the rapid exit, is so vital. As you consider entering new crypto ventures, having this knowledge can be your first, and often maybe your best, line of defense against significant losses.
Absolutely. It's about empowering yourself with critical knowledge, rather than just reacting to hype and emotion.
It's about moving from being, I guess, a passive observer, susceptible to those emotional appeals, to an active, critical participant who understands the mechanisms at play.
Exactly. Knowing the rules of the game, even if the game seems rigged.
To really drive this home, let's look at some other case studies, reinforcing these echoes of the past and demonstrating just how systematic this playbook truly is. The Trump coin is a perfect, almost identical example of the same script, just with a different actor, different name.
Indeed. The Trump meme coin, just like YZY, exhibited a remarkably similar structure. It was unequivocally characterized by extreme centralization and, well, insider advantage right from its inception.
Same story.
Early investors, or those with privileged access to the token's initial distribution, were strategically positioned to profit immensely from the initial surge of public and speculative interest. And that then inevitably led to a massive rush of losses for later retail investors who bought into the hype, often at the top. It's the same setup, the same dynamic playing out.
And the scale of that impact was truly massive. Sources like Betrue, Crypto News, Wired have painstakingly quantified it. They estimate that billions wiped collectively from the broader market as a direct result of these dynamics across various meme coin cycles.
Billions with a B.
We're not talking about small sums here. We're talking about a significant systematic transfer of wealth from a vast number of smaller, less informed participants to a very concentrated few.
And this highlights that these are not isolated incidents.
Yeah.
They're recurring, almost cyclical events that demonstrate a highly systematic approach to extracting value from the market. When you see the same patterns, the same profit-taking strategies, and as we've noted, even the same wallets appearing across different high-profile meme coin launches,
That's the smoking gun.
it points not to random market fluctuations, but to a calculated and repeatable method for extracting value,
Yeah.
which raises that important question. If these patterns are so clear and so devastating for retail, what can genuinely be done to protect the broader market and ensure fair participation?
That's the million-dollar or maybe billion-dollar question. And speaking of those overlapping wallets, the LIBRA token echoes this as well. This is such a critical detail, isn't it? The fact that the same digital fingerprints, the same wallet addresses, were involved in both the YZY and LIBRA launches?
It is absolutely critical because it moves beyond mere correlation to strong, almost irrefutable indications of coordinated insider activity.
It's hard evidence.
When you consistently observe the same digital fingerprints across multiple so-called pump and dumps, where a token's price is artificially inflated by coordinated buying and then quickly sold off, or even outright rug pulls, where developers abandon a project and disappear with investor funds, it suggests with a high degree of certainty that these are not simply coincidences or unrelated market movements.
No, it's planned.
Instead, they look like deliberate strategies played out repeatedly by the same actors or tightly connected groups, using the transparent ledger of the blockchain itself to, ironically, hide in plain sight. On-chain forensics provides that undeniable, traceable evidence.
And if we broaden this discussion even further, we see a clear warning from history repeated countless times in other high-profile celebrity coin failures that maybe didn't even make the same headlines as Trump or YZY.
Yes, this pattern extends far beyond just those three. Numerous other celebrity-backed crypto projects have suffered strikingly similar fates, often leaving just a trail of disappointed investors behind.
You hear about them briefly, then they vanish.
Think of examples like the Kardashians token, which was embroiled in controversy, or the ETHMAX token. Both experienced these flash crashes post-hype, often after initial surges fueled purely by celebrity promotion.
All sizzle, no steak.
These incidents underscore a fundamental structural issue. Hype-driven tokens, particularly those fronted by celebrities, consistently lack real underlying value, utility, or any kind of sustainable development roadmap. Their price is almost entirely dependent on ephemeral speculative interest and fleeting public attention,
Well, it's on sand.
which makes them incredibly vulnerable to manipulation and ultimately to massive dumps by those who got in early and have literally zero incentive to maintain the token's long-term health or foster a genuine community around it.
It's like trying to build that beautiful, intricate house entirely on sand, like you said. Without a solid foundation of utility, a committed team, and genuine demand beyond the initial hype, it's just destined to collapse when the tides inevitably turn.
Precisely. The celebrity endorsement creates an immediate, massive wave of initial interest and liquidity, sure, but without a genuine product, service, or community engagement beyond that initial sugar rush, that wave quickly dissipates. What's left behind is often just a wrecked price chart and significant losses for those who arrived late to the party, hoping to catch a ride on the celebrity train.
Okay, let's turn to the data itself, because the data truly tells a stark and undeniable story, one that visualizes the disparity we've been discussing. We've been talking about these patterns and profit disparities, and it's something you could actually visualize quite clearly if you had the tools.
That's right. Imagine, for instance, a wallet profit heat map for YZY. Such a visualization wouldn't show, a gradual gradient of gains across many participants.
No, it would be stark.
It would be a stark, almost violent contrast. You'd probably see maybe 5 to 10 wallets blazing bright red hot, perhaps accounting for 80% or even 90% of the total profits extracted from that token's brief life.
A tiny cluster of winners.
Exactly. This small, intense cluster would be surrounded by a vast, almost invisible sea of faint blues, grays, and maybe even deeper reds, representing thousands of smaller investors who collectively put in millions, but individually saw negligible gains or more likely significant losses.
Wow.
It's a powerful visual testament to the funneling of wealth and the profoundly skewed distribution of risk and reward in these schemes.
And what does that kind of visual representation tell us fundamentally about wealth concentration and the distribution of risk and reward in these schemes? It paints a very clear and frankly disturbing picture.
It visually confirms what we've been discussing, that the risk-reward ratio is profoundly, maybe even maliciously, skewed. While thousands of smaller investors might collectively put in millions, hoping for a return that mirrors the initial hype, the heat map would show a massively disproportionate amount of the total profit flowing into a mere handful of wallets.
Funneling upwards.
It demonstrates that the game is just not designed for equitable participation or for the average investor to consistently win. It's a funnel. It seems meticulously designed and executed to channel wealth upwards and inwards, concentrating it into the hands of a very small, very well-connected group.
We could also probably do a timeline comparison of Trump versus YZY. Charting their price spikes and subsequent dumps in parallel would, I imagine, be incredibly revealing. It would look like watching a replay of the same destructive play, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be strikingly demonstrative of the precise repetition of tactics. If you were to overlay the price charts, maybe normalized for time, you would almost certainly see eerily similar initial surges, that classic pump fueled by hype and early buying volume, followed by steep, rapid, and often irreversible declines as these insiders, these whales, meticulously cash out.
The same shape again and again.
The shape of the charts would almost mirror each other, providing compelling, undeniable visual evidence that a proven playbook is being deployed consistently across different celebrity tokens, regardless of the celebrity attached or the specific name of the meme coin. It really shows a systemic rather than isolated problem.
And then there's that critical metric we touched on, token supply concentration. For YZY, the numbers were something like 20% publicly available for trading, with a staggering 70% insider held. Now, that's a statistic that truly jumps out, a major alarm bell for anyone looking at the token's potential health or fairness.
It's a key metric for understanding centralization risk, and its implications really cannot be overstated. When 70% of a token's total supply is held by insiders, meaning the developers, the launch team, or closely connected early investors, it means they have immense, almost absolute control over the token's price and liquidity.
They own the market.
Pretty much. Numerous sources, Cointelegraph, CoinSpeaker, Crypto Briefing, Decrypt, Panews, Chaincatcher, Ainvest, even Wired, have all highlighted this kind of extreme distribution as a major red flag. It's a clear indicator of potential manipulation waiting to happen.
So what are the profound implications of such high concentration? Who truly controls the market when such a large percentage of tokens are held by a select few? Because it certainly isn't the average participant, the retail buyer.
Well, the implications are that true price discovery is virtually impossible. When just a few entities hold such a dominant share, they can coordinate potentially to pump up the price, whip up that excitement, create that FOMO, and then bam, dump their holdings simultaneously, causing the price to crash precipitously.
Pulling the plug.
They effectively control the supply, and therefore they control the market dynamics. This leaves retail investors with little to no influence, making them entirely at the mercy of these large holders' coordinated decisions, if that's what's happening.
It sounds like a predator-prey relationship almost.
It's an environment ripe for exploitation, where the market is less about organic supply and demand and much more about engineered cycles. And critically, as you hinted at, it fundamentally undermines the whole decentralized ethos that Web3 is supposed to embody. Instead of power being distributed, it's being reconcentrated in new, maybe even less transparent ways.
Okay, to put some hard numbers to this, let's talk about that profit comparison bar chart idea. If we compare the gains from insider wallets across YZY, which was reportedly around $800,000 for this specific event we focused on.
Still a huge amount for a quick flip.
Oh, absolutely. But then compare that versus LIBRA and TRUMP, where we saw over $21 million combined just from those two, not even counting the $100 million from Trump earlier.
Yeah.
It truly quantifies the sheer discrepancy in the scale of these operations.
A bar chart would visually represent that vast difference in profits extracted by these sophisticated traders from different projects using seemingly similar methods. While $800,000 from YZY is significant on its own, when you view it alongside the $21 million plus from LIBRA and TRUMP, well, it underscores the sheer scale of the profits made by insiders across their coordinated multi-project activities.
Yep. Stacking wins.
And this visual comparison doesn't just highlight the massive gains of the few, it also implicitly points to the collective losses incurred by the broader market as a direct consequence of these calculated profit extractions. It's a powerful illustration of how this wealth is transferred, often from the many to the few.
So we've laid out the patterns, we've identified the players, or at least their wallets, we've quantified the profits, and we've visualized the disparity. Now let's ask the most important question for anyone listening today. Why does this matter for you, the individual investor or trader, and for the broader Web3 ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah, the so what question. For individual investors and traders, this entire deep dive should serve as a profound cautionary tale. A stark warning, really. Insider-driven meme coins pose an extreme, almost guaranteed risk to your capital.
It's not just standard market volatility.
No, this isn't just about market volatility. It's about entering a game where the rules seem fundamentally biased against you from the get-go.
Exactly. Understanding these mechanics isn't just academic. It's crucial for actively protecting your investments and making genuinely informed decisions. I mean, be honest with yourself. Would you really trade a meme coin if you knew, with high probability, that there were whales already positioned, just waiting to dump on retail at the first sign of a surge?
Logically, no.
For most rational people, the answer is a clear no. Yet, the intense allure of quick, life-changing games fueled by that celebrity hype often overshadows this fundamental, undeniable risk. It leads many to disregard the warning signs, hoping they'll be the lucky one.
It absolutely does. And while some might view this as simply playing the game or being clever in a new, unregulated frontier, well, it fundamentally undermines trust and fairness in the market.
It damages the whole space.
It creates an uneven playing field where those with privileged information or immense capital can systematically exploit the enthusiasm and optimism of smaller investors. This erosion of trust isn't just a problem for meme coins. It affects the perception of the entire crypto space. It makes it harder for legitimate, utility-driven projects to gain credibility and adoption.
Yeah, it tars everything with the same brush.
It paints Web3 with a brush of pure speculation and exploitation, which can be incredibly damaging in the long run for its mainstream acceptance.
And this situation, these repeated events, they renew the urgency for something much bigger. A collective call to action, maybe for greater transparency, genuinely fair launches, and potentially even smart, community-driven regulation within the broader Web3 ecosystem. It's an unavoidable conversation we need to have.
What's fascinating here is thinking about what fair launches might actually look like in practice, moving beyond just, idealism. Could it involve more equitable token distribution mechanisms? Perhaps requiring a significant percentage of developer or insider tokens to be locked up for an extended period.
Like vesting schedules, but enforced.
Exactly. Or prohibiting early, large-scale selling by initial investors. The community, the validators, the developers themselves have a vital role to play in pushing for better transparency, demanding clear, verifiable information on tokenomics, wallet distributions, and vesting schedules before any broad public participation.
Holding projects accountable.
But this raises an important, maybe difficult question. Could smart, effective regulation of celebrity meme coins ever be truly possible? Or do we expect too much oversight and centralized intervention in a world that prides itself on being decentralized and permissionless?
That's the core tension, isn't it?
It's a fundamental tension between the core ideals of decentralization and the very real, often painful need for investor protection and market integrity. Finding that balance is incredibly tricky.
It's a complex, perhaps even irreconcilable balance sometimes.
Sure.
As the line between genuine celebrity endorsement, which can be legitimate marketing and outright market manipulation, blurs, as we've seen so vividly today, how do we collectively ensure that the promise of Web3's decentralized, equitable future doesn't simply become just another playground for the ultra-wealthy? Repeating the old financial systems, but just with new tech.
Yeah, TradFi 2.0.
That's a thought to really sit with, and one that the entire community really needs to grapple with going forward.
Critical question indeed. It really defines the future trajectory and the credibility of the entire space, I think.
We've really covered a lot of ground today, pulling back the curtain on the murky world of meme coin speculation. We've identified a clear, disturbing pattern of what looks like insider trading across celebrity meme coins.
The playbook.
We've highlighted the significant disproportionate profits reaped by a few, often at the expense of many. And we've underscored the urgent, undeniable need for greater transparency and vigilance within the crypto market.
And understanding these dynamics, it isn't about fostering cynicism or saying don't participate. It's about empowering you, the listener, to be a more discerning, critical, and ultimately, hopefully, a more successful participant in the crypto space.
Knowledge is power, as they say.
Knowledge, especially this kind of deep, granular insight into how things really work sometimes, is your best defense against exploitation.
Absolutely. And look, if deep dives like this, exposing the wild world of meme coin whales and these kinds of patterns help you make smarter moves, and if you appreciate this kind of in-depth analysis,
I hope you do.
please take a moment to subscribe, maybe leave a comment, or share this deep dive. Your engagement really helps boost our visibility in the algorithm, lets the platforms know you value this, and allows us to keep bringing you quality crypto content and shining transparency on the most explosive crypto stories out there.
Yeah, it really does make a difference for us being able to continue these conversations.
It does. So, as we wrap up, considering the cycles we've uncovered today, the repeated patterns of pump and dump of concentrated wealth and retail losses, here's a final thought for you.
Okay.
Is the proliferation of meme coins truly a sign of crypto's vibrant, innovative spirit, its permissionless nature in action? Or is it maybe a symptom of a deeper speculative addiction that could ultimately undermine its legitimacy in the eyes of the broader world?
Innovation or addiction, that's a heavy one to end on.
Let us know what you think in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and most importantly, stay informed.